Hey guys. Today I'm really excited to show you guys a little bit of GvG Gold content. I know a lot of you really want it, or at least a lot of people who are in my streams. If I'm ever live and you want to like give me ideas or things you want to see, or just you want to hang out, just I stream fairly often. But yeah, so um, the GvG Gold piece of content that I really wanted to talk about today is debatably the best Guild v Guild defense. There are some that are better. Here we're against the previous rank. We're against the previous rank 3. This is the guild. I basically sum it up as it's the guild with an A5 Praetus. This Praetus is A5, by the way. That's what I like to sum it up as. Before we get into the rest of the video, I just had to say I've been putting a lot more effort into my videos lately. And I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribed. My subscribed ratio is not terrible, but it could be a bit higher. And if you would like to like and turn on notification bells, that would help me a lot. Although it is free, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you don't, then I will pull the blicky on you. So you better be careful. Anyways, let's get back into the video. But I figured that I would kind of show this defense, kind of show a budget version of the defense, and I would also just kind of show that even the number 3 guild in the world will be using them a lot, like this sort of team a lot. So let's get into the team. Here we are. I am on AirMax's account. He let me on it because he has Torador, which I don't have, so I will need to do I will need to show you guys how I run a team like this on my account. But first of all, I have to say that this team used to be a bit different. It's been getting a lot better recently, which you might have gotten a glimpse of, but I'm going to show you what it used to be. So it used to be a hollow team. So it used to be hollow, Torador, Baron, Hatsit, and Arrogance. And it was already incredibly strong. This is the team that like Drake used to run in Mad. I know a lot of really high top teams run this sort of team, and they would just kind of run it like this because in your head you're thinking Hollow would be better or Elowen would be better, but that's actually not the case. So Hollowin has Rage Regen, like to go on everyone. Hatsit is the main anti. Hatsit does a lot of things. She does anti-air defending. She does a lot of damage. She stacks up very fast. I think Ageless Wrath is her best thing. And then Arrogance is really good. He also hits air alongside Hatsit to kind of deal with the air side of things because the meta right now in Guild Guild is air. So this team will never really lose to air because of the two of them. Arrogance is very strong. This was already a very strong team before Arrogance's bond skill, but now if you have Lust and get Arrogance, Arrogance is a lot better. So that makes this team even harder to deal with. Torador gives them all the attack boost from the Lord skill. He does some tankiness. He revives. Um, he's not the best tank ever, but he's tanky enough to work. He can also deal a lot of damage. And then Baron is just kind of sitting there, soaking up the damage. He has Unyielding, he has the shields. Very strong team, right? But eventually, somewhat recently, not too recently, people discovered that Lily actually had a use here, which is why this is the version of the team. This is how one of the best teams in the past got better. And the reason why Lily is better, here, let's go in while I explain this, and then I'm going to talk about the builds, talk about how you can run this, talk about a budget version, stuff like that. Um, with the Hazard banner coming soon, I feel like this is probably the best time to talk about this. But Lily is really interesting because her her utility that she brings, while it doesn't regen rage, it's just so much better to keep this team alive because this team does a ton of damage, but sometimes it's easy-ish to kill them. So this brings a lot of utility. A lot of these DPS units, Hatsit and Arrogance, they don't actually have very high skill costs, so they will be getting their ultimates very frequently. So it's not actually necessary to have a rage regener. Um, so let's look at her. I'll just go over Lily's kit. Basically, when Thorny Protection, which is this thing, is triggered, the saved ally gains damage increase. She has attack-based healing. She has this, which is her main highlight, I would say, which prevents incoming fatal damage one time for one ally in range, and immediately grants a shield of 35% of their max HP for 10 seconds. The effect can only be triggered one time every minute. This is really, really strong. This is kind of in a way similar to like a Valkyria ability, although it's not as good because it's only one single hit and there's a lot of hits being sent out. So this really does make a big difference. This ability, the auto ultimate, each heal quickly restores HP for the target 2 times. Additionally, the hero's healing multiplier on targets with HP below 50% is increased by 30%. This effect lasts for 20 seconds. This is not to be understated. This ultimate has some of the craziest healing I've ever seen. I'm gonna show you guys some of the failed defenses on this team because some people did attack it and lose. And she heals like a truck. It's crazy. I'll go over the builds in a second, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys that this is kind of the meta team. I know Airmax is running it. I'm running a budget version. I'll get into later. If we look into these opponents, we are currently winning, but we have the same team. They're running Carnelian, who could be technically better than Lily, but it's a little hard to say. I think they do very different things, so I cannot say if it is better or worse, but Carnelian is a great, great option. This guy is absurdly overpowered, and the fact that he's running this should say a lot. This guy is running a variation. He's running the budget version, but with Brokir instead of Baron, which I will also show later. This guy is not running it. That's not running it, but they are running Hatsit. Hatsit's very good for GvG Guild. Here we go. Here's another carbon copy of the team, 400 KBP. I'm pretty sure that this one has more, so it is a little stronger, at least in terms of base stats. We don't have it here, but we have a kind of blend of Nightmare there. We have the exact same team, but with Brokir instead of Baron. If you're missing a little bit of gear, Brokir could be better, but I like Baron because he gives the Nightmare boost. This team, another Nightmare team, like we're only halfway through, and you see that like half of these teams for the number 3 guild in the game are running them, right? They're running basically the same thing. Sometimes it's Baron, sometimes it's Brokir, whatever. It's still a lot of the same exact team. So I would say this is probably the best defense of the game. But let me get into the builds really quick. So this is not the perfect gear. There is stuff you could do better. I know a lot of mad guys have a better version of this defense. If you if you go to the main Discord and you ask Drake to show you his Hatsit gear, he will be more than happy to do so. But let's start with Torador. So Torador is a little bit of a hybrid for this team. You want to make him a hybrid build, ideally, or you could just go all attack, because he will get revived anyways. The main thing that's an issue if you're running something like Wrath, and I'll go over a bit more later, is they might not live to the legendary mages, but Torador is fairly tanky on his own, and you can kind of build him with raw attack. Infernal Roar is the best. You want to run just kind of whatever you got. I assume this doesn't really matter. Nah. So you want to run him like that, but he is still mostly for his Lord skill. Then for Baron, if you want to use Brokir, you can use Brokir as well. The gear here, the stats are pretty crazy. It's not Guardian, which could make this a little bit better. I'm not entirely sure if he even has a couple Guardian sets laying around. Nah, doesn't seem that way. I don't think he's put in the effort to farm it. But yeah, so the stats are pretty crazy. This is what I would build on a Brokir who has better base stats. And yeah, pretty solid. If you do want him A5, you do want him max skilled. He is running Bastion Ring, which is pretty normal. I'm not 100% sure if this is the gear that we're on them before, but I think it is. Arrogance, Infernal Roar is really good because Soulbound Arcana, while it is better for Arrogance, GvG Guild fights are not long enough to really justify it. He has a really, really solid Infernal Roar set on the Arrogance. The gear on this account is very good. 20k attack. Attack is better than crit damage for GvG Guild generally because of the defense numbers on the units. High crit damage, high attack speed is really solid. Wailing Skull max, pretty good. If you just want to build your Arrogance for full damage, you want to build Baron to live, and then Torador can either be a hybrid or you can go full damage, whatever you want. And then Hatsit, we have Soulbound Arcana. She ults constantly. It's a really insane set. You could run either Ageless Wrath on Hatsit, you could run Sylvan Arcana, whatever works, whatever works. Then he's running Idril's Gaze. Idril's Gaze, I would say, is best, but it differs depending on what you're doing. But for this team, I would highly recommend Idril's Gaze. And then we get to Lily. Lily as an Invig set. I'm not sure if it goes on Arrogance or something, or if this is even needed. But as you can see, crazy attack speed, crazy attack. That's the main thing. We have tons of attack speed, a little bit of healing effect. That could be better, but I think it's fine. Then we're running Golden Scarab. The fact that these artifacts aren't even close to max is still pretty crazy. Let's look at how the teams that fought them did. I'm going to go with this one first because I know this one is what happens when your timing is off. And then I'll show the other one, which is more successful, which is about when your timing is good. There are a couple ways to deal with this team. It's not perfect. There are no perfect guild v guild defenses, unless you're just crazy with the gear. As you can see here, they're using a special high HP kind of Thrasher type thing. Torador would have died, but Lily saved him, so now he's able to keep attacking. As you can see, everyone is getting completely shredded. Baron survives, and Lily just continues to heal it up. As the time goes on, Hatsit will get stronger as well, so it's a little better. And then Arrogance just does so much damage. Even not in his ult, he still does absurd amounts of damage. As you can see, Torador is starting to die, but Lily's shield once again comes in clutch. And even if Torador dies to the mages, he will get revived from his own abilities, so that's really good. Lily just helps against the mage sort of aspect because you could just run the mages if you're running like Hollow or something, and it'll be worse because then you could just kill Torador early, but people don't like running that anymore. Carnelian does similar, by the way, because she puts out Unyielding. But I know we were just in a fight, but editing Destined here, we had a little bit more time since I filmed that video to kind of progress in the GvG guild. As you can see, we're kind of winning. It's pretty close, but we are winning. And I just had to add that Carnelian is actually better than Lily, in my opinion, because just to put it simply, she's Cancer. It's incredibly hard to deal with these teams. As you can see, lots of losses over here. I'll just show you one of my attacks on this Carnelian team, which we did eventually defeat, but as you can see, it was brutal. So I'm just going to show how much better Carnelian could be against this one specific strategy. As you can see, I am running these bugs. These bugs are a really good counter. Kamikazes are more viable, but as you can see, you either gotta rush immediately because the second Carnelian gets this sort of orb on Hatsit, she will not die. So then, if you were to blow her up, which you can do, then you would just lose. If you don't do that, you know, like you either gotta rush it immediately because if she puts that out, then you lose, or you got to wait because Arrogance will kill your units, and then you're unable to blow them up. And it's a mess. I hope this makes sense. Basically just you gotta try to play around it so differently. Lily has a little bit of counterplay, but this is a mess, honestly. As you can see, you can do it with spiders, but it's a lot harder. You could usually just use rare tanks against Lily teams. So just keeping that in mind. Just thought that was worthy to add. And let's get back to the the other part of the video, unyielding. But that's besides the point. Here is what happens when the timing and the circumstances go a bit better. So this attack was a lot more effective. As you can see, he's once again doing the same heavy hitter thing. But this time they actually managed to kill Baron somehow. And that's really good for them. Torador still has his revive, which is really good, and we still have our 2 DPS alive. Here, I will just kind of give a hint to a new attacking meta. You could probably kamikaze this sort of team, but I'm not sure how effective that would be. Here, they managed to kill Torador, and now they have 2 dogs, 1 arrogance. And now what happens? Are they gonna win? Barely, not enough time. Not enough time. That's crazy. Yeah, so that's a way you could beat the team. If the team was better, obviously the artifacts were not ideal. and all of that stuff. Also, I forgot to show Torador artifacts, so I should show that in a second. But uh, if if you have maxed stuff, like artifact wise and things like that. By the way, Torador is running Bloodlust Phylactery. But if you had better artifacts, this would be even better. But as you can see, that's a player from the number 3 guild in the game right now, who ended number 3, attacking this team and losing. That's just how it goes. It's so good. It's very, very strong. There's very little counterplay. Although there are ways to beat it. I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out because I am not good enough to beat these teams. But yeah, so let me just go over to my account really quick to show you guys the budget version. But that is kind of like the peak of what you can do. Basically, just you want to have your Nightmare Core, you want to run Lily or Carnelian ideally. You could run Eloin, but it isn't as good. There are counterplay to that team. That's a lot better than what we're running here. But yeah, so Arrogance, ideally you will have him bonded. Then Hatsit, which we have a banner on now. So these two units have been very attainable now. Torador is the main thing that is hard to get, but you can do it with Wrath, which I'm going to show you in a second. And then Baron as a good tank. But you could also run Brokir, although I would recommend running Brokir for your second team and running Baron for this team. Let me swap over, and I'll be right back. Alright, here we are on my account. I just kind of swapped over pretty fast, and I'm just going to show you my version of this. So, obviously, my version is not as good. It has lost a little bit. I'll show you guys them beating me, but as you can see, it's the same guy that lost the Torador version. My gear is not very good, so I do have to preface that, but we're just going to go into it. So first off, I'm using Wrath instead of Torador. Everything else is pretty similar, but that one little part. But when you're running Wrath, ignore this gear. This is not the gear he had when I set up my GvG defense. But what I ran was I put this on. I put the tanky stuff on because it's what I have. I didn't want him to die to the mages to trigger Lily's abilities, and I also ran Lunacy Visor for the extra block. So that's what I ran. Let me swap it back so I don't forget later. Just because I hate gear swapping. Then Hatsit I put on this Ancient Wrath set, right? Ageless Wrath set here. The attack speed's a little bit low, as you can see right here. The attack speed's lower than I would like it to be, and I would like more attack and crit damage. But I mean, 14k is not too terrible. 300% almost. It's okay. I'm happy with this. I ran Max Idril's Gaze. And then Baron. Baron I swapped on I think I swapped on either this set or this. I don't know. I swapped on a Guardian set. Oh, I know what I did. So I put this set on Olog. I put the Olog set on Baron. And then for Wrath, I put my Vortex set on because I wasn't using Vortex. So what I actually ran was I was running this sort of stat. So crazy HP, you know how it goes. Basically, just build your Wrath high HP, build your Hatset as high damage as you can. I struggled a little bit, and then I put Arrogance in. I think I put him in this set of gear because Infernal Roar is better for him, just straight up early on. 18k attack, 320% there, decent attack speed, and then I ran Wailing Skull. So obviously my gear is not very good, at least not to fight the third best team in the world. Like, that's absurd, but it's what I had. And then Lily, I ran this sort of thing. The attack is way lower than I would have liked it to be, but I had some okay healing effect and attack speed. Artifact wise, I put on this. I'm not 100% sure if that was good, but I put it on, and honestly, it did better than I thought it would using Wrath. If you're not against these crazy teams, like, look at what he's gonna do. He's gonna do the same thing that almost beat that Torador team, but he's actually doing a different variation. Never mind. Here, because my Baron is not very tanky, he's immediately gonna get his booty blasted. But as you can see, Lily is very, very good for heals. And while we will be dying here, and then we lose, it was pretty good, honestly. I think if we killed these axe guys, if I had a tankier Baron and just overall a little bit better build into Lily, then I think I would have been okay. But overall, I think that was decent. My second team won, which has no no ranged fighter because I don't have a second one. But yeah, so just kind of showing you the budget version. I know it lost, but I do hope that this at least is kind of helpful in a way. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing kind of one of the more meta defenses. As you saw earlier, many people are running the exact same team. Like, if we even go to the back, which I didn't show, they're running a similar team, broke here instead of Baron, but that's a-okay. Then this team running the exact same thing. Sure, we beat it, but I mean, the BP is a little low for this type of team because this is a very high BP team. Over here, we're running similar, but they're running Eloin. Eloin does work, but not always. We did the only attack we've done on this team so far. We have one, so it is not concrete. Over here, similar team, but with Wrath. They kind of got their deleted, but we still did lose a couple times, right? Pretty decently well built using Brokir, although I do like using Brokir on a different side. I know one of these keeps has the team, something similar. Here you go. There you go. A Nightmare team. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. I don't think I have too much more to add. Thank you to Airmax for letting me show on his account. And yeah, if you have the means to build these teams, if you pull hats it this weekend, you could probably make this. Assuming if you have arrogance, I know not a lot of people have arrogance, but I mean there were some banners for these heroes recently. There's gonna be a Tord or a Giselle banner soon. But yeah, so this is about it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and Destined signing out.